Hi, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I'm here with Aren, and we're super excited to talk about our Bloodsport fight and answer questions that people submitted. We're a little bit behind schedule this week, but remember, next week, as you watch the last episode of the season, check our Instagram story, follow us on @SeemsReasonable, and we will always be asking for questions because we love to sort of interact with you all and talk about what you're interested in. So to kick us off, going into this fight, Aren, John asked us, why did we choose forks over the wedge?
Yeah, so I've got this one a few times. We also got it for the fusion fight, and it's the same answer. The bar hits higher than the front horizontal wedge ever would. Yeah. The bar on Bloodsport landed in about the top inch or so of our main armor. So the hoop was the thing that would be taking the hits.
Same thing. Wedge.
Not the wedge up front.
Bloodsport.
And then we knew the reach advantage of our normal forks over their wedgelets was going to be an advantage as well. And we were looking forward to scooping onto the side of the billet chassis of Bloodsport.
Awesome. So going into the fight, how were things going in the beginning, and what was your thought process as we were sort of chasing Bloodsport around the arena?
Going into the fight, I knew we'd weather the hits fairly well. We had proved some of that early on. Some of our capability with regards to taking hits early on with our first fight against Valkyrie. And I was we were really excited to be punching something really solid. Like, we landed a lot of good hits on Gamma 9, but it just tore out a lot more metal than it would have sent them flying. But Bloodsport is a pretty good brick, and we're excited to actually hit something solid. Obviously that changed real fast, and there's nothing it's hard to put into words the heart drop of crap. We need to come back from this now. In the middle blitz of the fight, change of plans.
So that actually relates to questions that a few people asked. Will Han asked, how much did the Vibranium armor cost, which is funny. We actually have a picture of some of hits that we took. So this here you can see is a nice chunk that was taken out of our armor.
Yeah, so that was the hit that was closest, and this shows that where their blade was actually hitting. It skipped over the outside armor and hit the main frame of the robot, which that's 1/4-inch AR400 plate for anyone wondering at home. This was probably about I'm gonna say an inch and a half, an inch territory away from important bits. So this is the closest anyone's gotten to the internals yet.
Yeah.
But that's a solid hit.
Totally. So not totally battleproof, but maybe close enough. So
put more steel in the way, it'll do okay.
We also have now a question about our weapon failure, which is, do we know why it failed and what happened? And Madman 2415 also asked what part Bloodsport hit that broke our weapon specifically. So could you dive deep into that for us?
Yeah. So our weapon speed controller died in a very boring, mundane manner. When we pulled the robot out of the fight, we turned on the robot and just did the function check. The speed controller was doing a slow red flash, which per the manufacturer means self-test failed at boot. It's okay, what does that actually mean?
Right.
And they also clarify the only way to make this happen is trying to power the drive from basically with a higher voltage than the controller is rated for. And I'm not entirely sure how that failure happens. One inkling might have been Bloodsport hitting our weapon as it was spinning and hitting it fast enough such that voltage went above and it killed the speed controller.
Right.
But there's no fire, no sparks, no fanfare, just, oh, hey, I don't work anymore. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was real annoying.
Yeah. So how did you respond when that happened and our weapon was out?
Yeah, well, we'd also been watching all the other fights, so it was kind of interesting, and I don't think we really thought of it right at the time, for what Bloodsport effectively did to Gruff. They lost their bar in the first hit and then proceeded to play the control bot and use the arena. So
Yeah.
I was pretty happy with how well we were able to control and move them around. I know their front wedgelet game isn't the strongest, and it's aluminum mounts, and the wedgelet's a lot more, I'm going to say, dainty relative to the ones on on the front of Tantrum.
Sure.
So also, I wish the screws would do us a favor at least once, because I got Gamma 9 into him a time or two, didn't pick him up.
Yeah.
I was pretty happy with the maneuver of getting Bloodsport into one set of screws, not picking him up, back up, whoop, over another set of screws, still not picking him up. Come on.
Yeah.
So it just turned into use the arena. And then
Totally.
I'm gonna give credit here to Zach, who was operating the hammer for us for a optimally timed smash, which
Yes.
arrested a fair amount of the energy from that hit, well, from Bloodsport's blade on that one into them. Got a nice pin lined up. I think, which in the fight, it's weird to the tunnel vision because I didn't really even notice the first hit happen. So therefore, when it was resetting to do it again, I actually yelled out loud, like, "So you gonna use that thing?" over to Zach with the hammer.
Yeah.
And
Zach
then it
was
starts
killing
going to
it.
town again. It's like,
Yeah,
all right.
I was next to Zach when it happened. We were both sort of on the side, and normally, like, manning the hammer, mostly we're just watching the fight, trying to, it's very exciting and exhilarating, even standing to the side, just being that close to the arena. You can like feel and hear and see all the hits really close. And so when Bloodsport came over, it was actually right in front of us. And it was like, oh my God, it's our turn. And then Zach was like, let's go. And so it was super fun. I think it's not often that you get to be in on the action. So I really enjoyed that. So yeah, that was awesome. Cool. So we also have some questions from Ryan, who said, why did one drive side on Tantrum falter towards the end? And someone also asked, did the bot stop briefly for a second? It scares me, LOL.
Yeah, so Tantrum is one of the robots that we choose to run some magnets on the bottom of for additional downforce. And I think I covered that previously. A lot of it is to help basically make the robot drive like it did in practice. So it's not a ton of magnet. I think it's about 60 pounds extra pulling us down. But I'm pretty sure during the fight, we got something stuck, I believe it was on the left side.
Yeah.
That picked up that side of the robot some. So only the right side is going, and you see the robot dragging and trying to, and eventually it scrapes it free and everything's back to normal. So that's one of the risks we have from taking that strategy. But I'm still a fan of it based on how well the drivetrain's been able to boss people around.
Yeah. Great. So finally, somebody named Ja Designs says, I can't believe it went to a split decision. So what is your take on the split decision, and how do you think it should have gone, Aren? Do you have a hot take?
Oh, it's not that hot. I gave it to us. I would give it to a 6.5. And it was interesting seeing, I believe the week before they did a judge clarification. I think it was actually on the Bloodsport Gruff fight with regards to losing wedgelets and maintaining the drivetrain, but also like if somebody still has the drivetrain, or if you take drivetrain damage, that's more because it means you can't get as much aggression or okay. So seeing some of that, I think kind of leans it more towards expected. I know at the end of this fight, we were asked, like, can you turn on that weapon as just a sanity check that we weren't just playing a wedge the entire time. The judges wanted to know if the weapon was actually broken, which it was electrically. Mechanically, it still spun fine, slid back and forward fine. Like mechanically, the robot was fine. I'm amazed it took that many hits to the disc and was still able to slide and spin.
Yeah,
but
that was
for the judge's
awesome.
decision, I went 6.5 in our favor, just based on how much damage we were able to do using the arena and using our face.
Right.
Wedgelet's gone, a tire gone, self-rider pole bent, which I had it pointed out by a teammate as we were watching the episode. Like, oh, if you would have let him hit it a couple more times, the self-rider pole would have bent in the path of the blade. I'm like, wasn't thinking that at the time.
Yeah,
storing that away for the future.
So fast. Yeah. Cool. So we also have some cool pictures of our fight damage. So this here is actually a picture of after we included our gruff bars here with these two vertical bits, and then you can see there are also some horizontal bits. So we painted it, got it all nice,
Yeah,
and
so
also
that's a
put
good
eyes on.
before of that's no scratches. Gruff bars are welded on. Going into the fight, you can see what the disc looks like. You can see what the armor looks like. All right,
Yeah.
next.
And then after, we have this picture here. So, all things considered, it did hit the gruff bars, which I think is cool. So they did function as we intended.
Yeah, and the one on the other
nice
side
swipe
actually
here.
started to peel the weld a little at the top, but I don't have a picture of the other side of it.
There.
But yeah, those definitely worked pretty well.
Huge chunks.
And then the disc is also an impressive one. Like that's carving out of that's S7 tool steel, 54 Rockwell C. Like that thing's real hard and was getting hit by something real hard. So I'm guessing some of the bigger spark showers were when their weapon was hitting our weapon.
Yep. Pretty awesome. Cool. So that's all I think we have on the Bloodsport fight. Overall, we are now in the quarterfinals, which is top 8, which truly is incredible to me. Our next fight is against Sawblaze, which is also very exciting, very intimidating. Going into this fight, Aren, what do you think Sawblaze's weaknesses are, and what is your strategy?
Early in the event, during one of the interviews, they asked, "Who do you not want to face?" My immediate response to that was Sawblaze.
Well, look at that. You jinxed
And
it.
yeah. So I'm curious if they'll use that or not.
Yeah.
And the main logic is we got pantsed by Scorpios last year in a lot of cases I consider Sawblaze they're remarkably similar. So it's like, okay,
Sure.
if we can't win the wedge game against them, we're gonna end up a little robot in a big dustpan and just get taken everywhere and have the piss beat out of us.
Yeah.
So we also had the pleasure of having Witch Doctor wander over and use our press to take out their weapon axle from their loss to Sawblaze, to where Sawblaze punched through I think an inch of aluminum in the hub, and pinned aluminum to the center shaft, so it didn't want to spin. It's like, what the? Okay, so we had our own internal back and forth debate over what to do. Mike from Witch Doctor came over, was giving advice of like, how about more? It's like, okay, more, because our normal top shoulders on the robot are quarter-inch thick.
We actually have a picture of this that I can show as well. As you can see here, the sort of second layer of armor that we added to the top of our bot.
Yeah, so we took our quarter-inch thick armor, we took our 3/16 normal side shoulder armor, cut up the 3/16 and welded it to the top of the quarter. Yep. So it's one of those like, here's more steel in the way of what you want to do.
Yeah.
So that's 7/16 of AR400 between Angry Spinny Disc from on the armor Sawblaze and anything important underneath that, which like batteries aren't that far underneath that, motors.
Yeah.
So I'm going to call that paying our respects to what we've seen Sawblaze's weapon do. Give us the best shot. And then, I know if you beat Sawblaze, it's either hit him really hard like Uppercut did. I don't think, I know we don't have the ability to quite do that weapon energy wise. So it just turns into, it's going to be a control driving match, and whoever wins the ground game wins the ground game.
Yep, pretty much. Great. Well, thank you, Aren. I'm personally very excited for the episode this Thursday. Make sure you all tune in on Discovery Channel. We also have a few plugs to make. We opened up our Redbubble shop last week and have sold stickers, shirts,
Tantrum
jackets,
onesies,
hoodies, onesies for your baby. So cute. Hopefully we'll get pictures of cute babies soon, so it's like a double whammo. We also actually put some parts up on eBay for auction, and we have tons of really exciting things, including a Tantrum fist. We have flamethrower fist. We have wheels. We have some wedgelets or forks. Sorry. Tons of really good stuff. You can find information, links to all of these on our Instagram or on Facebook, all linked right here as we have in the corner. Yeah, Aaron, do you have anything else to add?
We'll be doing a couple waves of eBay related items, spreading over the fights we've had this season. So right now there's some stuff up from the Valkyrie fight and I think from the Fusion fight.
Yeah.
And then also like I mentioned a few times in the show we practiced a lot, so we went through a lot of wheels practicing. So we're trying to set those ones up as a buy it now to be able to just get it and have that piece. And make it a little more accessible because we have a lot of them. We got a lot of practice.
So maybe there'll be more wheels. Yeah. Cool.
Alrighty.
See you all next week. Bye-bye.